Welcome to Discovering. I have a couple of stories for you tonight. First, we go to Camp Josh in Ontonagon County for one more bear hunting story.
Just as it was starting to get to that hour where the light starts changing, the bear came in and I got it.
Then to the Keweenaw wild bird R.E.C. to see the release of a rehabilitated great blue heron.
Living here comes with the responsibility to be respectful to our wildlife and helping them.
So sit back and relax. It's Monday night and it's time for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forests thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill, the eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
Camp Josh is a wonderful, completely volunteer organization based out of Ontonagon County, whose mission is to provide fishing, hunting, and outdoor recreational opportunities for people who have a disability of any kind and veterans. The camp is located on 40 acres on the Cranberry River in Ontonagon County and was named after Josh Bader, an enthusiastic young man with a significant mobility impairment who tragically passed far too soon.
He had never done much outdoors, he hadn't done much fishing, and then, they took him in the outdoors and he just fell in love with it. And through all of that, they got the land donated and the road and the 40 acres and a line run in here, and we built a beautiful Koski log home. And it's gone from that to what you see here today. We built a nice pond. We fill this pond. We're fortunate enough to have the Keweenaw Bay Indian community donate fish and the Waters Meat Fish Hatchery, and they give us fish and 100 rainbows, 200 rainbows at a time.
This is the second year that Camp Josh has offered a hunting opportunity.
We have two deer plots out here that we had put together through funding through the DNR, and we've had a veteran came out here, I think 2 years ago. I think he shot if I remember right, he shot an 8-pointer. So this is our second hunter out here, so we're 2 for 2, so it's pretty exciting. And
We are here at this beautiful location at Camp Josh in Ontonagon, Michigan, because I was invited or gifted a bear tag through a couple of organizations, Courage Incorporated and Camp Josh. They had a fella named Tom Petola donated his bear tag, and because I have advanced medical conditions, I qualified to be the recipient, and they invited me to be their guest. Came up on Monday, Memorial Day, a couple days before opening day for hunting, just to get the lay of the land and kind of the feel for the place. And my dad, Max Stagger, and I came up, and it's a gorgeous location. It's got a beautiful 3-bedroom log cabin, fully, electricity and showers and everything. There's a beautiful stock trout pond here with a gazebo and everything. The guys have all been super helpful to do the heavy lifting for me and made it as easy as possible for us to enjoy our stay here. We've baited. I had the opportunity to go out and actually bait the locations and see how you do that, and set up trail cams. And the first couple of nights we had nice hits on the bait piles, and when opening day started, we went and sat, and they have 2 bait piles here, so I took the opportunity to sit in both of them one night after the next. And by the third night, I decided that the one was being hit more, so we just kept going back there, and we had lots of evidence of 2 different bear, and I just wasn't getting lucky. They were coming after dark, and I was supposed to go home on Saturday, and I decided one more night. just as it was starting to get to that hour where the light starts changing, the bear came in and it looked at me and I looked at it, and we both froze. And I just waited until it dropped its head, and when it dropped its head, I handed my dad the binoculars, gave him the thumbs up, and I picked up the rifle and steadied myself and clicked the safety off, and one shot. And it went a little ways, but not very far. I don't know, maybe 50 to 75 yards into the woods. It gave out 2 big death moan groans, and I thought, oh, I got it, because they all told me if it makes that noise, it's a good thing. So yeah, I had to walk down the trail a little to call the guys because there's no cell service out there. So I, called the guys and I said, can you come and help me? I think I got a bear. So they all came, and we didn't have to go too far into the woods to get it, and then they field dressed it and dragged it out for me, and took care of getting it all cleaned out and packed it with ice, hung it in the shed, and then this morning we took it over to the butcher, and we'll have it taken, processed and everything, so we'll here locally.
And for her to say on Friday and Saturday that she hasn't seen a bear, right? So she's there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and she's willing to come and sit and wait it out, because you can't script Mother Nature, And so to me, for her to have the willingness to sit there and wait it out and wait and then get a bear, I mean, it's just incredible, and you could see the excitement on them, and she was so happy and she's so pumped. One shot, down goes, the bear's down, and and I think she's gonna have a bear rug made out of it. And so how exciting is that? I mean, she waits it out. I've had celebrities bear hunt with me, and they, a lot of people, we're not hunting, there's no gates around here. And the bear, the animals come in, they come in. If they don't, they don't. And you got to be a hunter, and that's what it's all about. And for her to wait it out and have the, wherewithal to feel like that and do that, and not, what are you going to say? She deserved that bear, and she worked for it and she got it. So I'm excited.
Oh, it's just been incredible. These are the nicest people I think you could ever hope to meet. I think was the first person that they've invited to actually stay here. So we've been here all week, and they're just phenomenal. They're just the nicest people. They have lent me their side-by-side gator to drive, just anything they could do to make it nice and convenient and easy on people that don't have all the full abilities of everyday folks. So yeah, couldn't have asked for anything better. In our stay here, we've enjoyed the trout pond. We've got 7 beautiful trout in the cooler to go home. I got a big one, a 16-inch rainbow trout. It's just been gorgeous. We've seen all kinds of wildlife in our just, driving around and whatnot here. A lot of deer in the fields and all kinds. I've seen an eagle here over the pond, and just been a opportunity of a lifetime, really.
Like we always say, our success is measured by smiles out here. And if you see the people smiling and looking at us and what it brings to them and makes their day, it just lightens your heart.
Camp Josh continues to make improvements to their facility.
We're looking at expanding, and because, the more success we get, the more it grows and the more people want to use it. So, we're going through growing pains on how much we want to do.
And I do know that they are currently fundraising to replace the wooden dock that goes across their pond. So if you're looking to donate to a really good organization, Camp Josh is www.campjosh.org.
Camp Josh is always looking for volunteers to help and for people and groups to come out and enjoy this outdoor space.
We have a website, and if you have a group of kids, or you have a group of adults, or a group of anyone with special needs or veterans, please call us up and please set up an event, because we'll set it up anytime for you. And we partnered with Simple Jerry's, or we've partnered with ourselves because we do know how to cook, and it's we'll set it up. We'll have pizzas for you. We'll have hamburgers. We'll do barbecue. Simple Jerry's will do a barbecue, and we'll make a special day for you. And we just can't wait to do it, because we're trying to expand. We have the Western UP covered pretty well, so we're trying to expand to the entire Upper Peninsula, Michigan. So.
Congrats to Tina on that beautiful bear and for sharing your story, and to Camp Josh for helping people get outdoors. Michelle Anderson from Keweenaw Wild Bird R.E.C. contacted me that she was about to release a great blue heron back to the wild. Of course, I wanted to see this firsthand and learn more about how Michelle rehabilitates sick and injured wild birds.
My name is Michelle Anderson, and I am a licensed wildlife rehabilitator. I've been a veterinary technician my whole adult life, and my husband was in the Coast Guard for 20 years, so we traveled all over the country. So about 2005, I was in Oregon, and I got a job working with seabirds, and I really liked it. I had never really worked with birds before, and so kind of after that kind of got my interest peaked, and I've really been focusing on wild bird rehabilitation since then. So I guess I really officially had an official job in 2008 down in the Florida Keys as the wildlife rehabilitator at their center. And then I've been doing it really ever since. And I've been here, I think it's our 7th year here. Keweenaw Wild Bird R.E.C. is our nonprofit. So that launched 3 years ago. So every bird, really, but birds of prey. So I focus on native birds. So the majority of birds we see are songbirds, which we can kind of hear in the background. We've got a lot of warblers coming through. But yeah, a lot of, our robins, cedar waxwings, various, blue jays, crows. And then I get some water birds in. So I have a heron that we're going to be releasing. I do a lot of ducklings, ducks, and geese, occasionally swans. So yeah, the focus really is between songbirds and water birds is really what we mostly see.
Michelle has a bird hospital set up inside this cool old barn on her property.
So this is the bird hospital. So we have incubators when they're little babies that they can go in, so we can adjust like the temperature and the humidity so the babies grow properly. And then we have like a scale over here. We weigh them when they first come in. This is for the bigger guys. Heating pads and all of that. And then depending on what age they are, they go in different kinds of caging. We do some fecal exams to see if they have parasites and stuff with a microscope. So it's kind of like a mini hospital for birds.
There is also an aviary she keeps birds in, like the heron she's releasing today.
I'm licensed through the state of Michigan, through the DNR, and also because I do migratory birds, which is the majority of birds we see, through U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So I've never gotten a call from U.S. Fish and Wildlife about a bird until this day. They called and said, hey, we're out in the field. We're doing I think they were doing lamprey research up north here in Keweenaw County, and we came across a heron, and he was stumbling around, very thin. Can you take him? And I said, well, of course. So yeah, they brought the bird to me, and it's a juvenile that was emaciated. So sometimes, young birds, when they separate from their parents, they have a hard time learning. It's a lot to catch live prey. So sometimes they don't do a great job. And so we will see some of these starving juveniles come in, but we were able to basically treat for parasites. Wasn't injured, just very thin. And so slowly we introduce fluid, we tube them fluids, and then fish soup. So I grind up fish and vitamins and stuff and tube that. And then we slowly introduce them to solid food. So now this bird's been eating like 1 to 2 pounds of fish a day. Also mice, they love mice. So yeah, so has been treated for parasites and been given some vitamins to kind of boost the immune system, and now is fully flighted. It's flying around the aviary and has gained a lot of weight and is ready to go. So we're hopeful that this little boost will get him back going where he needs to go, because they're getting ready to migrate. So it's kind of like need to get him out so we can get him on his way.
We brought the heron back to close to the same location as it was found.
We do try to get them back to where they came from. But herons, it's especially those kinds of birds, important to get them back where they came from. They're super territorial, so you wouldn't want to put one where there's a bunch of other ones. And, we want it to be a smooth transition back to the wild. I think this is probably where he was born, somewhere around here. It was probably the rookery. I actually consult eBird and see where are they seeing those birds? Have they been there before? Because that kind of gives me an indication like, okay, they're going to do all right there. So we kind of look at the weather too. So it's going to be pretty decent weather. We like to give them a good stretch of weather for, 2 or 3 days. Obviously, we don't release them into a storm. But yeah, so there's a lot that goes into it, because I want to make sure they're successful after all the hard work we've put in. So get them the best chance we can to get back to the wild.
The heron was stubborn and backwards in the crate, so Michelle had to take him out and send him on his way, which happened in about 2 seconds, so don't blink.
See ya.
Here it is again in slow motion.
Oh, he looks really strong.
I first met Michelle last spring when I brought her a hummingbird that had collided with my camper window. I most likely did everything wrong in trying to save it.
Call us right away. Yeah, a lot of times it takes folks a day or two depending on where they're located. But yeah, I encourage people to, Google basically licensed wildlife rehabilitators in Michigan, and you will see a list that'll come up. And yeah, the sooner the better that folks can get the birds to us, the better their chances. It's very important that folks never offer food and water. So basically it's just put them in a box with a towel in a quiet, dark place away from people and pets, no food or water, because they're better off waiting for help. We've had a lot of people, birds glottis, like their breathing hole's a lot further forward than ours. So people will inadvertently drown them by giving them fluid. So yeah, we don't want that.
Spring is Michelle's busiest season, and it starts to slow down this time of year, but with many birds now migrating through on their journey south, she will get a few more in before the snow falls. There are ways we can minimize our impact on these birds.
Lots of simple things. So, just if you have a window that birds hit every year, there are things you can put on that window to deter. So like decals or even like tempera paint, like in a pattern, something on the outside of the window to break it up. Because when a bird, they just don't see glass the way we do. They see the reflection of the sky and of the landscape, and they just cruise right into it. So if we can warn them, that's gonna save a lot. Also keeping our cats inside or contained outdoors. It's something like, 2 or 3 billion they estimate birds are killed every year, from those cats. So I get, maybe a dozen a year, but I'm just one tiny facility. So you can imagine throughout the country and the world, if everybody gets, a dozen or 20, it adds up. So that's something we can do. Our songbirds their numbers are plummeting. So it's something that we can do to protect them. And yeah, just slowing down. If you see a flock of birds ahead of you, just slowing down a little bit. Don't assume they're gonna take off, because a lot of times, there's not enough time. Just things like that. Just kind of, providing native plants is a really great way, even better than feeders, because our feeders kind of, if we have a cat, the cat's gonna come a lot easier. Usually feeders are close to a window. That's encouraging kind of them hitting the window. So kind of just beefing up our native plants on our property, that's the best food for them. Kind of trying to avoid pesticides when we can. That's another big one. Because remember, like 80% of land birds are feeding insects to their babies. So if we're killing the insects, then they're gonna get those insects and feed them to their babies, and in turn, so it's things that we don't think about, but they can make a big impact. And so even if we pick 1 or 2 of those simple changes, we can do a huge service to them. So there's some simple things, that can help make it easier on them. 90% of what I see is caused by people, by us, by just inhabiting this area. So I feel that it is important, especially with, obviously there's some animals that, let nature take its course. Obviously some wildlife are meant to eat other wildlife, and some are supposed to get sick and be eaten. That's understandable. But when they're hitting our windows and we're hitting them with our cars, and our cats are, attacking them, which are not a wild animal, those are the situations where I think it's super important that we try to balance the damage that we've done to the wildlife. That's why I do it.
That's all for tonight, and I hope to see you right back here next week for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.